World War I, the event that changed the world in 1914. 1. Introduction, the beginning of the war. The year 1914 marked the start of one of the largest and most destructive wars in human history. World War I was not just a military conflict, it was a global trauma that deeply impacted societies, economies, cultures, and political structures. This war would shape the world for a century. Its effects were felt not only in Europe but across the globe. The war shattered economies, led to the loss of millions of lives, and resulted in the creation of new states. For the entire world, the aftermath of World War I would set the stage for the tumultuous events of the 20th century. 2. The road to World War I. The path to World War I was long and complicated. The causes of the war are not attributable to a single event but rather to a combination of social, political, and economic factors. These factors intensified the tensions that already existed between the great powers of the time. Nationalism. By the late 19th century, nationalism had become a powerful force in Europe. Many ethnic groups, especially the Slavs, were seeking independence from the multi-ethnic empires like the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the Ottoman Empire. This growing nationalist sentiment created tensions between various ethnic groups, especially in the Balkans. The region was a hotbed of political instability, with the Serbs leading efforts to unite all South Slavic people into a single nation. This posed a serious threat to the stability of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which was trying to maintain control over its Slavic territories. Militarism and the arms race. Another crucial factor was militarism and the arms race. With the Industrial Revolution, European powers began modernizing their military forces at an unprecedented rate. Germany, in particular, sought to build the most powerful army in Europe, which made the other great powers feel threatened. Britain, France, and Russia, in turn, began increasing their military spending and weapons stockpiles. This created an atmosphere of distrust and fear, where each country felt it needed to outdo the other in terms of military power. The naval arms race between Germany and Britain was especially intense as both nations vied for dominance on the seas. The alliance system. The alliance system played a critical role in turning a regional conflict into a global war. By 1879, Germany and Austria-Hungary had formed an alliance. In 1907, the Triple Entente was established between Britain, France, and Russia. These alliances meant that if one country went to war, its allies would likely be drawn in as well. This created a domino effect where a conflict between two countries could quickly escalate into a broader war involving all the great powers of Europe. Imperialism. Imperialism was another contributing factor to the outbreak of World War I. European powers were engaged in an intense competition for colonies around the world. As countries like Britain, France, and Germany sought to expand their empires in Africa and Asia, tensions grew. The struggle for dominance over colonies, resources, and trade routes intensified, creating further rivalries. Germany's growing ambitions to acquire more colonies placed it in direct competition with Britain and France, exacerbating existing tensions. 3. The Sarajevo assassination and the outbreak of war. One of the key events leading to the outbreak of World War I was the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife Sophie on June 28, 1914 in Sarajevo. The assassination was carried out by Gavrilo Princip, a Bosnian Serb nationalist, as part of a plot by a group of Serbian extremists to free Slavic people from Austro-Hungarian rule. The assassination shocked the Austro-Hungarian Empire as Bosnia-Herzegovina had been annexed by Austria-Hungary in 1908, angering many Serbs. This event served as a catalyst for war. In response, Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for the assassination and issued an ultimatum on July 23, 1914, demanding that Serbia take responsibility for the actions of the conspirators. Serbia agreed to some of the terms but rejected others, leading Austria-Hungary to declare war on Serbia. The system of alliances quickly escalated the conflict. Germany sided with Austria-Hungary and declared war on Russia, which was allied with Serbia. France entered the war on the side of Russia and declared war on Germany. Britain joined the war after Germany violated Belgium's neutrality by invading the country. As a result, what started as a local conflict in the Balkans quickly spread across Europe, and World War I had begun. 4. The early years of World War I. The war quickly expanded into a global conflict, and the first few years were marked by bloody battles and trench warfare. The Western Front became the most famous and deadly theater of the war. After Germany launched an invasion of France, the war turned into a prolonged stalemate characterized by trench warfare. By the end of 1914, the German advance had been halted, and both sides dug in along a line of trenches that stretched from the North Sea to Switzerland. The Western Front saw some of the most horrific battles of the war, including the Battle of the Somme and the Battle of Verdun, where hundreds of thousands of soldiers perished. The Eastern Front. The Eastern Front was quite different. Here, Germany and Austria-Hungary fought against Russia, and the conflict was less defined by static trench warfare. Russia suffered massive losses, and by 1917, the Russian Revolution led to the withdrawal of Russia from the war. This allowed Germany to focus its efforts on the Western Front. Naval warfare, naval battles were also significant, particularly between Britain and Germany. One of the most important naval engagements was the Battle of Jutland in 1916. While the battle was inconclusive, Britain maintained naval supremacy, which allowed it to blockade Germany and restrict its access to resources. The global nature of the war, World War I, was not confined to Europe. It spread to colonies in Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The Ottoman Empire joined the Central Powers, and fighting in the Middle East and North Africa became crucial in the broader global conflict. British forces, along with troops from India, Australia, and other colonies, fought against the Ottoman Empire in the Middle East, while African colonies were embroiled in battles between European powers. 5. The aftermath and the Treaty of Versailles. World War I ended in 1918 with the signing of the Treaty of Versailles. The treaty imposed harsh terms on the defeated Central Powers, particularly Germany, which was held responsible for the war. Germany was required to pay enormous reparations, give up territory, and limit its military capacity. The treaty also resulted in the dissolution of several empires, including the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires, and the creation of new states such as Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia. Social and economic effects. The social and economic consequences of the war were profound. European economies were devastated, and many countries were left with crippling debts. The war also led to significant social changes, such as the increased participation of women in the workforce. With so many men away fighting, women took on roles traditionally held by men, and many gained greater independence and rights after the war. However, the emotional and psychological toll of the war was also enormous, with widespread trauma experienced by soldiers and civilians alike. Political changes. The political landscape of Europe was completely transformed by the war. The defeat of the Central Powers led to the collapse of empires and the creation of new political entities. The Russian, Ottoman, Austro-Hungarian, and German empires were replaced by new states, and the Treaty of Versailles established the League of Nations, a precursor to the United Nations aimed at preventing future conflicts. 6. Conclusion. The legacy of 1914. World War I was a turning point in world history. Its causes, progression, and aftermath shaped the course of the 20th century and laid the groundwork for the rise of totalitarian regimes and the outbreak of World War II. The war had far-reaching effects on social structures, political systems, and economies across the globe. The political boundaries of Europe were redrawn and new ideologies emerged in the wake of the devastation. Closing. This video has explored how the events of 1914 and the ensuing World War I dramatically reshaped the world, creating a new international order that still influences our world today. I hope you found this overview of the causes, course, and consequences of the war insightful. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more historical content. See you in the next video where we'll explore more events that changed the course of history.